Greg?
Well, a district judge telling Colorado sheriffs that they cannot sue over new gun control laws because they're a group of elected officials, thus they don't have standing. This halting a lawsuit that 64 sheriffs filed to overturn laws that went into effect July 1st, limiting the size of ammunition magazines, requiring universal background checks. To break it all down for us, attorneys Keisha Hebben and Robert Schalk. Robert, let me start with you. I mean, the judge saying you don't have standing because, and that means essentially you're not affected by it. Well, I can't think of anything more affected than sheriffs at the opposite end of a barrel of a gun with limited ammo.
Right. I mean, it's a total cop-out by the judge. I mean, she didn't throw the suit out because they're saying now you can go after it as individuals, which they're more likely than not do. Right. But this absolutely puts our law enforcement in danger. You can pass the legislation, just don't make it apply to law enforcement, because they did it here in New York. It doesn't apply to police departments. Why are we allowing there to be restrictions where other individuals can even get around these new limitations and stock their magazines with more bullets than the law is going to require, and the police officers are going to be the only ones with the required amount in their magazines? It doesn't make any sense. It directly affects their ability to fight crime.
Does this make sense to you?
You know what, Greg? It does, because what I think the sheriff's officers need to do is show how it affects their job, how it affects their ability to rightfully carry out their job. And if they need these extra ammunition magazines or whatever, then fine, then maybe the legislation can be amended.
They're being outgunned. I mean, everybody knows that. You just open the newspaper every day and you read about police officers who are being outgunned by all these guys with basically with machine guns.
But it's rare that you hear of these standoffs where the police have to, shoot more than however many rounds are in a normal magazine. So I get what law enforcement is saying. My husband's law enforcement, but I understand that this law has a bigger purpose, and it's to protect the citizens. There's a reason why they're limiting the size of the magazines.
I don't think it is. See, that's funny to me that the whole idea of them limiting the magazines protects the citizens, because to me, this is kind of the piecemeal or the legislation that is attempting to limit Second Amendment rights. But in the end, to me, again, the 99% of people who are lawful registered gun owners are the people who are being affected. Where someone could come into their house with an illegally manufactured gun or an altered gun with more ammunition, it's affecting their rights. It's affecting law enforcement who could be walking in on that situation. To me, there's no reason for it, because if a bad guy wants to we're both former prosecutors, defense attorneys.
Right.
If a bad guy wants to get a gun, a bad guy's going to get a gun.
But
if a bad guy wants to get more ammunition, they're going to have more ammunition.
The difference is law enforcement officers are trained to have a more effective shot.
Right.
So they may not need to have 15 rounds. They may be able to do whatever they need to do off of.
Sure, I want to rely on my aim ability.
Well, they have to train every year.
Yeah, of course. I want to hit another legal topic with both of you lawyers. Remember the two former Boy Scouts who were accused of toppling over a unique rock formation in Utah? I think we have some video of that. So here they are, and they're doing this, and there really wasn't much in the way of prosecution as a consequence. Now a state lawmaker wants to make desecration of Utah's natural geological wonders punishable by prison and a very heavy fine, sort of a fear of God law. Keisha, what do you think of that?
I think that's a bit extreme, and I understand the reason for wanting to protect these wonders, natural wonders, but the reality is, how can you even put a damage amount on someone knocking over a boulder or a rock, so to speak? I think what needs to be done is the law enforcement need to patrol those areas better to stop youth or people who want to
cost taxpayers more money, in other words.
Well, they need to do their job or have a fence or something, but
Utah's a big place.
But
I mean, there are a lot of natural wonders in Utah.
Yeah, you're right, but I just think prison's extreme.
I think that if they want to pass it, absolutely go for it. I mean, this is a problem that I had with this case is these guys are now saying, well, we were trying to protect the kids. One, the kids weren't there, and two, why are you recording it on YouTube? Right. That's the biggest issue. They're celebrating that they're dancing around on top of it.
Right, they're having a great time.
Right. My issue is this. Right now, there's nothing on the books other than your general vandalism statutes, and you prosecute them to the full extent if you want to.
Vandalism.
Right, that's what you have.
That's zero consequence.
Zero consequence. I mean, but the only other thing they could possibly do is try to pass something and grandfather them in, but then it's selective prosecution. prosecution.
Right.
And it looks, you know, I have an issue with that, of just passing something to prosecute these guys. You want to pass something down the road to protect the rocks?
Right.
Do it. I am all for it. And it can have, you know, and then it can, whatever penalty you want, jail, probation, fines, I'm okay with that as well. But to do it, to just go after these two guys, I think is a waste of time.
Yeah, and normally the consequences is some type of fine or community service and, you know, restitution. But again, how do you determine what's owed to society for knocking over this rock?
Yeah.
So
hard to determine what's really treasured, isn't it?
Right.
Okay, Keisha, Hebben, Robert Schalk, good to see you both.
Good to
Thank
see
you
you
so
too,
much.
Greg.
Art?
All right, Greg, good job. President Obama expressing confidence in the future of the nation's new health care law, but will the new website fix be enough to convince Americans?
Do you like beer? Do you support our veterans? Our floor director, Joel, does both.
Wow.
The first one
Joel,
really
I protect you. I protect
a
you.
lot. You know, one company is making sure that both go hand in hand.
I want the private sector to realize that the U.S. military veteran is the greatest human resource in this country.